3-day Southeast Asia tour. Their next stop is Burma. And while they were visiting in that monastery, the president joked that American leaders could use some prayer. He was referring to the fast approaching fiscal cliff, as they call it, and the urgency for lawmakers to reach a deal. Expiring tax cuts and deep spending cuts go into effect at the end of the year unless Congress reaches some kind of agreement. But House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi believes that they have no choice but to come to terms.
The elements for an agreement are there. Time is of the essence. The quicker we do it, the more confidence we instill, the better it is for the economy and for the American people.
Democrats are asking that the wealthiest Americans pay more in taxes, but so far Republicans are not backing that for the most part. Financial experts Elliot Miller and Gene Marks are here with more on that. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Hey, Joyce. Good to see you, Joyce.
Good to see you guys. So where in the world is the room for compromise here?
Well, Joyce, let me start by saying that there definitely will be a compromise by the end of the year. I mean, both parties definitely know they have to do something, and it'll probably come in two phases. One will be sort of an interim decision, and then the next will be an agreement for a long-term type of plan to compromise on this fiscal cliff. The biggest area that's going to happen, what I see, is there will be an increase in taxes. It will happen. The Republicans right now have a little less of a stance now after the election. People want to kind of meet in the middle ground, and I think those wealthier citizens are going to have to pay that much more as the Bush tax cuts expire. So if you're making more than $200,000 a year, if you're in that group, you are going to have to pay more taxes. Now, don't forget, there's more taxes coming up in 2013, even without the fiscal cliff. We have increasing Medicare taxes and Social Security taxes, and deductions are going down. So 2013 for all Americans, not only just the wealthier, but also the middle class, we're going to see increased taxes.
And there's so much they agree on already. Everyone agrees that 98% of the taxpayers should have their Bush tax cuts extended. Everybody agrees that if we go up to the date, that it's really bad. It's going to hurt consumer confidence right before this season. So that there's a lot of agreement. I think there's a few small points they have to get together with first.
So we've heard everything, though. If nothing is done, everything from not much is going to happen to Armageddon. Which one is it?
I actually think it's terrible. First of all, the government's too big. You can't turn around a battleship. You can't put your foot on the brakes and then have everything change, and then 2 weeks or a month later, put your foot back on the accelerator. It just doesn't work that way. The computers are all set up. I think it's really a bad thing if we go over the cliff.
And I have to say something, Joyce. A lot of economists, say what Elliot is saying, and certainly they have precedents to do that. But, the bottom line is that nobody really knows. We've never really been in this situation before. So, what happens if they don't come to an agreement? What happens if spending gets cut and taxes go up? Does the world blow up? Does companies shut down? I mean, nobody really knows what's going to happen, and I think out of fear of that, that's why the government wants to take some action.
Well, let's not find out if we don't have to. Well, what kind of, this kind of talk, a lot of people don't get it as usual. It's all kinds of stuff out there, but we're in the holiday spending period where so many retailers, so much is riding on this for them. Are consumers going to buy? Are they hold on to their wallets? What are they going to do?
It's interesting. The National Retail Federation said that sales over the holidays should go up around 4.5%. But there was a survey that was done just last week. I think like Google or Pitney Bowes did a survey of a bunch of consumers who said 84% of them said they were going to spend as much this year or even less. So if people are already kind of tightening up their wallets now, with the threat of this fiscal cliff and higher taxes next year, I think it is going to have an impact on what people are going to spend over the Christmas season.
You believe it, Elliot?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things with the fiscal cliff. For instance, unemployment compensation, the long-term benefits would just come to a close if we went over the cliff. Doctors would get 27% of their reimbursement from Medicare cut. These are very serious things. If you lack the confidence to spend, it will show up in the Christmas sales, no doubt about it.
All right, Gene and Elliot, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll talk to you and see what happens in a week or two.
Thanks, Joyce.
Okay.
Take care.
All right.
Thanks, Joyce.
Well, he is checking his list and packing his heat.